Hi everyone. Today I'm sampling Guinness Original Stout. This style is a dry stout, meaning that it is lower in alcohol and more of the sugars inside are fermented, giving it a dry type of feeling. You can see it's quite dark in its color, and that's due to highly roasted malts that were added to the beers at this time. In fact, Guinness is very well known for being really the first brewery to mass produce a stout beer. Before stout beers existed, 251 years ago, they were known as stout porters. And the word stout actually coincided with strong, as it still does today. However, you could have a stout pale ale, you could have a stout brown ale, you could have a stout wheat beer, and it just meant strong, stronger than what the original style was. But as stout porter became more widely liked among the common people, it really became a style of beer of its own, and that's why Guinness created just stout, and the name stuck, and has since become a very well-known and well-appreciated beer around the world. So, as a dry stout, this is 4.2% alcohol. It's a very sessionable beer, and it has a good amount of complexity. In the aroma, you get a dark chocolate, you get a little bit of a roasted character, and maybe a little bit of coffee. And that's due to the very highly kilned black malt that goes into the beer. The flavor is pretty roasted, maybe a little bit of burnt character, a little more coffee, a little bit of chocolate, but it's a pretty light overall profile. The beer itself is not thick, as some might think a dark beer would be. This is actually pretty highly attenuated, meaning that much of the sugar that is inside that would give a full flavor, or mainly a full body to the beer, that has been eaten by the yeast, and allows for the beer to be thinner, because when the sugars are eaten by the yeast, it creates alcohol and CO2, and alcohol is thinner than water and the sugars in solution in the water, so it creates a thinner beer. So although it is dark, quite dark, it is a thin, very drinkable beer, and this is really why it became famous, because it was so easy to drink and it had so much flavor. So Guinness has good reason to be well known and famous, because it's a beer that can appeal to a lot of people. There are a few different kinds of Guinness as well. There's dry stout, there's draft, which you can find widely in the United States, and there's also export stout, which is a little bit harder to find for some people, but you'll usually find it in a bottle, and it's just over 7% alcohol, and that is bordering on the range of an imperial stout with even more flavor and complexity than the dry stout. So Guinness is really one of my staple beers. If I happen to be in a store that has a pretty poor selection, there's a good chance they'll still be able to find Guinness, and it's really never a bad choice.